Everyone, disruption of finance through innovation. It's a pretty exciting topic. It's pretty hot right now. I think we can all agree to that. When we think about it, we're really on the cusp of truly appreciating the impact that this topic can have on how we live, how we work, and how we play. Before we go on, I probably should introduce myself. I'm Andrew Cohen. I'm the president of the Innovation Commercialisation Entrepreneurship Club here at AGSM. I'm standing here also on behalf of, where is he, Guillermo Rodriguez-Diaz, the president of the consulting club and also the brainchild of this great evening we have planned and hopefully very exciting. There's no doubt it's going to be pretty insightful, and to cap it all off, the Student Society have organised a Drink and Link event. It will take place just outside in the foyer. There'll be an open bar and some canapes for us all to enjoy. So look forward to meeting you all and putting a face and to a lot of the names that we now have on our list. Before I introduce each of our panel members, it's pretty exciting. If we all just have a look around the room now, you'll see some new faces probably. What's so exciting to me, and I hope you all share my excitement, is we have people who are part of the Executive MBA program. We've got alumni here, we've got faculty here, we've got full-time MBA students. It's a really exciting mix, and it's a great opportunity for us all to come together, collaborate, share our ideas, really learn from each other. And for me, that's the true essence of what entrepreneurship and consultancy is all about. So on that note, what I ask of all of you guys is really pull out those burning questions you have up your sleeves. The topic of today is disruption of finance. It's disruption, so be disruptive. Ask those tough questions. I don't know if some of our speakers will appreciate me saying that, but I'm sure they'll be more than happy to take those tough questions and answer them, and we can have some real fiery conversation and some insightful conversation. So on that note, I think I'm standing in the way of you guys having an open bar and an open ideas session. So let's kick off. I'll tell you a little bit about each of the speakers tonight. We have Richard Davies here, who's from IBM. He's the blockchain technology lead at IBM. For those of you not quite sure about blockchain, I'm sure we'll learn a lot about it, but it's basically going to disrupt, well, pretty much anything and everything, and that's what's so exciting about it. So look forward to hearing more from him. We have Simon Schwartz over the front here. Simon's currently the director of AGSM Capital and also former COO of Society One, which is a P2P lending platform that was disrupting and still is disrupting the banking sector. Then, come on through guys. James Kilathodor. He's about to launch, just 1 week away, so this event's come at a real opportune time for him, I think, but about to launch a startup called Cashba. And Cashba is looking to disrupt the payment systems and payment sector, and I think we all can agree it's a huge opportunity and a huge market to be disrupting. And then finally, last but not least, where is it? Josh Bollitt over here, representing two companies actually. One of them is Monash Capital, and the other one's a company called Our Crowd. And Our Crowd is a equity-based crowdfunding platform that's really looking to disrupt the way we are finding new ways and funding new ways of capital in our ecosystem here in Australia. And then the final person of our panel is someone I think we've all had something to do with and probably had real positive experience with. It's Jeffrey Tobias. He's not only the professor and the lecturer in the entrepreneurship class at AGSM, but he's also the founder of the strategy group and really the driving force behind all things entrepreneurship and the reputation and the status that entrepreneurship now has within the AGSM community. So on that note, I ask him to come on up.
Great, thank you. So thank you, and look, it's a real pleasure to be here to moderate this panel. But you know, we couldn't have an AGSM event without some slides. So I just a couple of thoughts to get us going before we bring the panel up. So what I see out in the market, I think, is this. So organisations are very concerned with missing out. You know, what's this startup stuff? What's this fintech stuff? What's happening that I could potentially miss out on? So organisations fall into one of two camps: fear of missing out or fear of getting screwed. And I think they definitely sit in, you know, should we protect ourselves? Should we put a moat around our business because all these disruptors are coming after us? And what's interesting is, you know, it's not the traditional enemy that's going to kill organisations, especially in financial services. It's the death by 1,000 cuts. It's the entities, not only the known entities, but the unknown. If you remember Rumsfeld, knowns and the unknown unknowns, it really applies to this in terms of who are the unknown entities, the entities in the financial, the ones sitting in Tyro, the ones sitting in Stone and Chalk that we actually don't know about. If I show you this picture, just look at this picture for one moment. What do you think this picture is? Anyone can guess? What's the picture? What is it a picture of?
Branding?
Sorry?
Branding?
Branding, yep.
It's like services you used to get only in a bank, and you can get all of these players around it.
Pretty close. Pretty close. Services you can get could get in a bank, but yeah. So what it actually is, it's a picture of a bank's website. And what it shows you is the startups. It's called unbundling. This is a term around unbundling. This is unbundling a bank. It's a real website picture, a screenshot of a website. And what you've got around the edges are all the startups that are picking out the little bits that the bank is doing and saying, you know what, we're going to do that better. We're going to do that more efficiently, we're going to do that faster. That little bit over here, that bit, which may be mortgages, it may be lending, it may be whatever it is, we're going to pull that out of you, bank, and we're going to destroy you collectively, because collectively this bank's going to get destroyed. Individually, it's the individual fintech startups that are going, we're more agile, we're more nimble than you. And of course, the traditional organisations come up with all these answers why all of this will fail. But what's interesting, if you look at the startup numbers, most startups do fail. So you end up with the statistics of 95% of startups actually do fail. So it's an interesting time we live in. We've got organisations being pulled apart by startups, but on the other hand, the reality is the numbers show you that most startups actually fail. So are we living in a totally overhyped fintech space? Or in fact, is this reality? And which side of the court should I be on? The fear of getting screwed and I better do something about it, or the fear of missing out because there's something going on in that stone and chalk space, and boy, we better be there or we might miss out. So we've got this fintech boom, tons of hype. Read Fin Review, read all the global blurbs, and tons of hype around this. And then we've got people like CEOs and executives from JP Morgan, traditional financial organisations saying there's something going on here. We better do something about this. And if you look at some of the numbers are pretty big. So this number is 34.4 billion of VC-backed fintech companies, the amount of money raised since 2011. So this is just raised, right? So we're on the upward trajectory in the fintech space. 34.4 billion, it's a pretty significant number across 3,000 deals. And if you look at unicorns, the companies with valuations of $1 billion and more, there are about 20 fintech unicorns with a valuation of $1 billion and more. 20. So, valuation of $1 billion or more. Pretty significant. What's interesting, if you look at the performance of some of those companies on the share market, it's not so great. So when the companies actually go and IPO and the public and what's the essentials are revealed of those companies, people go, not quite sure whether the company actually lives up to its hype. Bitcoin, blockchain, we're going to hear a bit more about this as we go. Look at the investments. So significant investment in 1.1 billion, 350 deals, tons. Look at the equity, the deal size. The deals just back from 2013. This is just Bitcoin and blockchain, startups and investments over the past couple of years. Wealth management, things like Wealthfront, robo-advisors, huge opportunity. Don't worry too much about the numbers, they're really big. So in terms of the opportunity for robo-advice and fintech disruption, it's enormous. And then you move to payments, which is sort of traditional play that organisations have been in. PayPal now enters the Fortune 500 in the space, and what PayPal is now doing is saying we've got to move out of just traditional payments into applications, remittances, peer-to-peer money, lending credit, and of course then you've got a whole bunch of competitors who come in against PayPal and say, well, we'll disrupt you. So you were the disruptor, and now we're going to disrupt you because we can do it better than you. And of course, the big prize also is insurance. You know, if you look at those of you who may be in the insurance industry, very traditional, very paper-based, very, you know, moves at a glacial pace, and the opportunity for insurance is enormous. So global life insurance premiums written, 2.7 trillion. You know, that's just life insurance. Outside of life insurance, 1.4 trillion in terms of insurance premiums written globally. You know, the numbers, you know, I don't know whether you can picture a trillion in your brain, but I can't picture a trillion in my little brain. So, but the prize here is actually significant given the volume. So the question I just throw up before we bring the panel is, what motivates your organisation? What should motivate any organisation in the financial services space today? You know, is it the fear of missing out? Is it, you know, or in fact, is it the fear of getting screwed? And at that point, I'm going to ask the panel to come up. So if you could, guys, if you could come up, and it's a you know, not a very, you know, diverse panel from a gender perspective, so I apologise for that. So we'll work on that. So what I've asked the panel to do is, and we might just start with yourself, I've asked them to just speak for 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes the big hook comes out, and just to give us a point of view from their perspective. So we've got a great panel. It's really exciting to be here tonight, and I thank both the Entrepreneurship Club and the Consulting Club for allowing me to moderate the panel, because we've got great diversity. Startup in payments, right? Equity crowdfunding, you know, history of peer-to-peer lending, and, you know, blockchain that I'm still learning all the details about. So thank you for my 5-minute tutoring before we started. And excuse my face, I could give you the story of how I, you know, tackled the guy in the shop who pulled the gun and I saved someone else, but I didn't. I just had a bit of surgery to my nose. So don't look at me, look at them. And I'm gonna maybe start, and perhaps if you can use, is there a microphone there? Just because otherwise the camera won't pick up the sound. It should be, is it on? Not on? Okay, just 1 second. If you just, yeah, it's on. Sweet. Great. So just 3-minute point of view on anything that I've raised or you want to raise about fintech disruption.
Yeah, sure. So, hey everyone, my name is Jins. I'm the CEO of Cashflow. I'll tell you a bit about Cashflow later, but I think there's some really good points raised here. What's the future for fintech? What's the future for banking? Something that we strongly believe in is it's focusing away from the traditional banking